Hi everyone. So what I'll do now, I'll just go through how I use the Exogen suit for my fast bowlers, whatever level that is, whether it's in school here in England at Wellington School or with the Rajasthan Royals. Okay, so what are we trying to achieve when I coach fast bowlers? The aim is to develop robust fast bowlers. Is to create the best mechanical outcome in a highly unstable and predictable environment. I feel fast bowlers would train in the gym, which is very stable. Uh, Degrees of freedom are limited, so the motor learning capacity and the adaptability is pretty minimum. So it needs to be specific. Our training for fast bowlers has to be specific because what happens in bowling doesn't happen in the gym in terms of the ground contact time. And the forces involved. You can't replicate that in the gym. So that's why Exogen suited my methods brilliantly. So where the body's a biotensegrity model, it's about push-pull forces. It's about creating tension in the fascial slings because it's all fascia. Fast bowling is about it's about speed, 80% speed, 20% strength, and it's about intramuscular coordination, and it's not about just building muscle. It's about how it coordinates together. So this is, for me, was a great video of how the body works. Okay, so and why it's important for Exogen is because it's the only way that you can train this way, because everything else in the gym would take muscle slack out of the system for you. And that doesn't happen in fast bowling. Okay, the compression and the tension created from the movement, it's all about movement, will then develop the biotensegrity model in the fast bowling sequence. So it needs to be specific. So what do the best do? Okay, so what does Jofra, what does Varun do? So this is what happens. I'll go through it quickly, but there's lots of forces, 4 times on back foot, 10 times on front foot. They run up quickly, about 7 to 8 meters per second. I believe 20% of running velocity, ball velocity, comes from the speed you run in at. It's fast bowling is aerobic lactic. So it's not about shuttle runs or anything like that. It's not about maximum strength. It's about specificity. It's about stiffness. It's about creating tension in the slings, in the fascia, that will do the work for you. It's not about grinding and effort. That's why, the 30 years ago bowlers, maybe more than that, 40 years ago, lots of them West Indies, and Javagal Srinath was a great example. It's about wiry strength. I think we've got away from that. So there's the shapes the fast bowlers hit are essential, and all the best ones do it. I won't, it's not a fast bowling webinar, but those are the shapes they hit, and you can see brace front leg is a big one, and stiffness on back foot contact is a big one, okay? So as I said, bowling is 20% strength, 80% speed. So how I use the Exogen is unique to fast bowling. It's unique to me. But the aim of it, you can use Exogen 2 ways: performance or developmental. It's a great tool for me because it taps into your subconscious coach. If you have to think about a drill, okay, you won't. It won't stay with you, okay? You need your subconscious mind to coach it for you. So putting Exogen on key parts of the body would actually do the coaching for you, because it creates feel. And how you load the pattern, how you load the fusiforms, will then groove that pattern for you. So it's about tapping into your subconscious coach. You only need to provide, you should only provide one conscious cue. Don't cloud the brain. So how do I create the change? So those are the 7 ways I create change. And the big one for the Exogen is number 5, well, all of them actually: create the feel. feed the mistake, overload the movement, change the goal, add variability. So what I'll do, I'll go through some of the exercises that I use, okay? So it's feed the mistake, band is pulling one way, so I have to compensate to go the other way. Variability, to avoid sensorial adaptation and to create change and a different motor engram, a pattern in your brain, you need to add variability. And this is where, let me just go, there we go. This is where the wearables come in. Okay, so there's John Cronin's quote for you there. So I believe the future is light and the future is Exogen, both for development and performance. The intra and intermuscular coordination effect is unique. So here's a performance element. So here's a full suit. So overloading the bowling action. It's periodized accordingly. He is a hip dominant guy, so I overloaded the posterior chain because this is a performance session. If I wanted to develop, make him a bit stronger in the anterior chain, I would actually load his anterior a bit more, twice as much as his posterior chain. But the great thing about it, he can do it while performing his skill. So here's his shunt, okay, using the calf. So we're increasing ground reaction forces here. We're slowing the movement down, and also to finish off, we're increasing ground reaction forces by assisting him. So force equals mass times acceleration. So here we're increasing the mass with calves, but that's not what it's there for really, but it does increase the mass and the acceleration through assisted bowling. So calves is a big part of it. I think the calf loading, calf sleeves are awesome, and that's what I use a lot of. Here's a great example of performance. Again, this is one of my girl bowlers at school. Again, calf loading. Here she is, you're sprinting, calves. She has them on her forearm as well, which I can show you why. So tempo bowling is a big part of my training program.
Beautiful.
So he, that's Akash Singh, has it on his forearms there, but also they have it on their calf again. So tempo bowling has to be 70% of your maximum. You can bowl every day, but you can't bowl flat out every day. It's high-low loading. So what Exogen does is loads it up for you. You just have to bowl, but the load will then make the skill sub-maximum because obviously there's heavy load in there. So my skill stability paradigm is how I change technique. I create feel. Again here, let's go this one here. So the pattern, the fusiform, the belly creates internal rotation. So the drill itself is doing the coaching. Okay. So then, because she's a side-on bowler, I need internal rotation. So the drill does the coaching for her. So the delivery, if you increase the mass of the upper arm, it's been seen to increase arm speed. Okay, so this is a drill I do called kneeling constraints. And then because the drill itself, again, creates hips and shoulders separation, she just has to bowl. And then we have Exogen on the forearm to create the feel and create delay on the left side, and then increasing the mass on the bowling side. So increasing arm speed. So the biceps and the forearm. So the biceps becomes performance and the forearm becomes developmental because I'm working the performance element of arm speed on the upper arm, bowling arm, and then creating the feel because, well, DK here and Ishant there just don't quite use their left arm. So I'm creating the feel. So they feel it. If you can't feel it, you're not going to change it. So here's another example. So there's a full suit there, bang, kneeling constraints, and then we have Var and Aaron there doing kneeling constraints as well. So it's specific strength. Okay, that's the beauty of Exogen, is specific strength. We can load the full bowling action and strengthen the pattern. So now he's got a vest underneath there as well, as you can see. So the whole body is overloaded, and that's strength. So an Olympic weightlifter would do 80%, well, 80% Olympic lifts. They would never go in the max. And it's about mapping, grooving. He was changing the technique there. So I've loaded the full body. Same with Ishan Sharma here. He's bowling a heavy ball, but he has Exogen on his left arm to create the feel and make it longer, to hit that contralateral extension and the leverage that's needed to bowl quickly. So if I go here then, so we can increase the force. So we've got, here we go, there's Varun again, loaded. So force equals mass times acceleration. Okay, I've loaded the mass here. Here, I've loaded the acceleration. Okay, I've loaded the acceleration by coming down from height. So we have development and performance there. So the beauty of the Exogen is you can use it in specific parts in the skill stability paradigm to overload key parts of the bowling action, whether it's left arm, whether it's bicep for arm speed, whether it's mass, force equals time mass times acceleration, as I keep saying, or calves for torque, to create more torque, rotation, and leverage. So more force coming down from a swing leg retraction into the ground. The faster you fly, the faster you want to sprint, the more force you have to put down on each ground contact. So you've actually running is flying, and you fly further by hitting down harder. So why not use the Exogen to create more mass to fly forward, and also the calf sleeves can then come down harder from above. I firmly believe in the product, and this is the ultimate, for me, the ultimate bowling drill. So we're again playing around with physics, being pulled. He's being pulled. He has arm speed because he's got loads on his arms, and he's also increased the force by having more mass and acceleration. Okay, great exercise for a hip dominant fast bowler. To finish, you know, at the end of the day, it's about transfer of training. What is the point of training in the gym if it doesn't make you better on the field? You can have a positive or a negative or a neutral transfer. Positive transfer is what you do actually works. And unless you train either parts of the bowling action or the full bowling action, unless you do that, okay, nothing you'll do will ever transfer to fast bowling performance. So hopefully I've given you an insight here. This is a classification system. Hopefully I've given you an insight how I use the Exogen system actually. And I use it on the calves, the full body. I don't actually use the shorts a lot, but I use the biceps, the forearm, and the vest to increase mass. Any questions, please ask.